A very warm welcome from India, and I hope you can hear me and see my screen. If yes, please type yes in the Q&A box and we will start the webinar. So, good afternoon, everybody. This is an introductory webinar for all the candidates who are aspiring to write the Pragati examination, which is scheduled on 31st of July, 2022. This webinar is to familiarize all the candidates on the step-by-step flow of how to take the examination and what are the various steps involved in order for you to complete the process. So Pragati 2022 is scheduled to be conducted on 31st of July in the internet-based mode across 118 countries. This webinar is meant to familiarize the candidates about the technical modalities of the entire examination. Study in India program is a flagship project introduced by the Ministry of Education, Government of India. The Study in India program seeks to endorse India as a prime education hub for international students by inviting them to pursue their higher education in our country. We have one of the largest higher education systems in the world that stands second in terms of the education network. This is a scholarship test, so award of scholarships is the aim and the objective of this program, of this test. Study in India includes a component of scholarship who want to pursue their undergraduate and postgraduate courses in the Indian universities or institutions. The selection of candidates for award of these scholarships is through a written examination called Performance Rating of Applicants through Global Aptitude Test for Indian institutes, abbreviated as Pragati. Please note, it is not an examination for the admission to any university. The candidates would have to apply for the admission to the university separately. About Pragati, it is a standardized online examination for the students seeking scholarships under the Study in India program. This exam is conducted to evaluate the capability and diligence of the students who are applying for higher courses. The scores obtained in the Pragati exam only serve as a criteria to shortlist for the allocation of scholarships. I repeat, it only facilitates the scholarships and not guarantees any admission. For the admission, you would have to apply separately to the correct university. NTA or National Testing Agency is an independent and autonomous body under the Ministry of Education who has been given the responsibility to conduct this examination. It is a premier testing organization engaged in conducting efficient, transparent, and international standard tests in order to assess the knowledge, competency, and abilities of the candidates. NTA has been entrusted with the responsibility of conducting Pragati 2022, and the role of NTA is only confined to the conduct of the examination process and declaration of results. NTA does not facilitate the admission process. What is the test structure? You have 90 multiple choice questions with 3 sections. The first section is the verbal comprehension, which comprises of 40 questions. The second section is the quantitative aptitude, which comprises of 25 questions. And the third is the logical reasoning, which again comprises of 25 questions. For every correct answer, you get 1 mark each. There is no negative marking for an incorrect answer. The paper will be multiple choice questions, so you have to select one out of the 4 options which you feel is the most appropriate one. The total marks for this test is 90. About Pragati, the examination will be held at 2 levels. A separate examination for the UG courses, the candidates who are aspiring for undergraduate courses, and a separate examination for the PG courses. Both the question papers will be different. The duration of the examination is 90 minutes and the paper will be in English medium only. Mode of examination. The examination will be held in an internet-based mode. You will be required to appear on your laptop or desktop only. You need not visit any exam center. You can take this examination from your home or office wherever you have a laptop, desktop with an internet connectivity and in a silent spot where there's not much noise. You will not be allowed to appear through mobile phones or tablets. You will have to make your own arrangements for laptops and desktops. Please ensure your laptop is fully charged before the start of the examination. And along with that, you have a stable internet connectivity with camera and mic enabled. So these are the 3 initial essential ingredients for you to take the test. Your laptop or a desktop must have a stable internet connection and a webcam and a microphone. What is the schedule? The admit cards were hosted on 11th of July. We hope you have downloaded your admit cards. The admit card contains essential information about which links to click, where to log in, what are your credentials, and what is the basic do's and don'ts which are to be followed for this examination. We are conducting webinars in order to familiarize the candidates. The first series of webinar was conducted on 12th of July, and today we are conducting a similar webinar on 16th of July so that all the candidates get accustomed to the overall process. There will be 2 mock tests which we will conduct. One is on the 23rd July, other is on the 27th July. The mock test aims to ensure that technically your systems are compatible with the required software and you do not face any difficulty on the day of the live exam, which is scheduled on 31st of July. The final exam, which is scheduled on 31st of July, will be conducted in 3 sessions. Session 1 is 10 hours IST. Session 2 is 15 hours IST. Session 3 is 15 hours IST. Please note you are supposed to check your admit card and attend the test only in your respective session. Change of session or swapping of sessions is not allowed or not permitted. In case you miss the time slot given in your admit card, you will not be able to take this test again. Please note there is an Indian Standard Time, which is the base time which you have to consider for aligning your watches. As per your local time and the city, you have to accurately calculate based on the IST or the Indian Standard Time provided in the admit card. The date of declaration of result will be announced on the NTA official website post the examination. Important timelines for the conduct of examination. You should report 60 minutes prior to your start time. Download the SCB and keep it open. You can start logging in 30 minutes before the start time. Once the exam starts, no new entry will be allowed. You're not permitted to start the exam late. You're not allowed to end the exam early and leave. You have to spend minimum 75 minutes in the examination, and the submit button will only get activated once the remaining time is less than 15 minutes. 15. The login ID and password for both the mock and the live examination is indicated on your admit card. Specific do's and don'ts that you should follow. Do not move away from your seat during the examination. You cannot take bio breaks during the examination. You should sit facing the screen throughout and not look sideways or down. You're not allowed to keep any cell phones, digital watches, and any other electronic device. You're not permitted to wear sunglasses or headphones. You should take the exam in a room where there's sufficient light. It should not be a dark room. Please ensure no one enters the room during the examination and there is no external disturbance. Do not talk to anyone or consult during the examination. You are supposed to take this examination alone. Don't keep any material notes during the examination. You are only permitted to keep one blank A4 size paper for doing rough work. The proctor will ask you to show the rough sheet and you will have to show him before the start of the examination. You're not supposed to access any other site or Google or search engine during the test. Your screen has been constantly monitored. Do not try to log in from multiple devices. The system will not allow you and prohibit you from the same. Do not use Google search during the test. It is strictly prohibited and you will be issued warnings in case you're found to do so. Do not lip sync or read the questions aloud. Do not cover your mask or do not cover your face with your hair, mask, clothing, or any obstructive material. Do not have any background noises, high volume music, TV playing in the background. You're not allowed to have any food beverage during the examination except water. Do not press F5 or refresh during the exam. You're not allowed to keep calculators with you. A virtual non-scientific calculator will be provided on the test engine itself. Violation of any of the rules will be treated as unfair means and you will be issued warnings and also may lead to disqualification or cancellation of your examination. You are required to strictly adhere to the instructions, rules and regulations given in your admit card. Any unfair means given in your admit card. Any unfair means will result in cancellation of the examination. Please note you are advised to go through the NTA website https://pragati.nta.ac.in. This is the official website where all the entire important information will be provided to you on a regular basis. Please keep a close watch on this website and ensure you are up to date with the latest developments which are happening with respect to this examination. This is a remote proctored exam. That means you are constantly watched by human proctors during the examination. At any given point of time, if the proctors observe you are indulging into unfair means or malpractices, they will issue you warnings. After issuance of 3 warnings, if you still keep repeating the deviation, they even have the flexibility to terminate your examination and your examination will come to an end. In general, please ensure you are in touch with the website, that is https://pragati.nta.ac.in. Constant updates and announcements will be made on this web page. And you're also required to thoroughly go through your admit card, information bulletin and FAQs hosted on the same website. These are the contact details which you can contact in case you have any difficulties or issue in downloading your admit card or downloading SCP or accessing any of the links which are given on the website. You can drop an email to this email ID pragati@nta.ac.in and you will get a response from the technical team, or you can call on the given numbers for any of your queries. All this material is available on the website for future reference, and also the same numbers are mentioned in your admit cards. In addition to this, we will have a technical help desk set up on the day of the mock and live exam day only. There will be 2 numbers for calling and 4 numbers for WhatsApp messages. Please note that these numbers will only be available on the day of the mock and live exam only. That means they will be available on 23rd of July, 27th of July, and 31st of July. Please do not reach out to these numbers other than these 3 days. You will not get a response on these numbers. For all other days, you have to contact the general help desk numbers which were displayed in the previous slide. Wish you all the best for the test. Now we will proceed towards the technical presentation, which will show you how do you download the SCB, what are the various steps that you have to follow for this test, and the step-by-step procedure of what all you have to do in order to complete this test. So in the next 15-20 minutes, we will be presenting you the technical aspects of this test. Please pay a close attention for the next 20 minutes. It will be very helpful for all the candidates who are taking this test. You will be briefed on what is an online remote proctored exam, what are the important instructions which you have to follow, what are the support mechanisms which will be available for all the candidates to take this exam, what are the hardware and software requirements which are essential for your device to be compatible, what all screens you will walk through, a step-by-step flow for all the candidates. And once this presentation is over, we will also answer all your questions which are mentioned in the Q&A box so that everybody has clarity on their doubts. Sufficient time will be given for all the question answers round. Please do not record this session because the entire material will be available on the website for future reference. So please pay full attention for the next 15-20 minutes so that you don't miss on any of the important points. What is an online remote proctored exam? An online remote proctored exam is an event wherein we will create on your desktop or a laptop so that if you are sitting in any part of the world with an internet connection and a webcam and a headphone and a laptop, you will be able to give this test. It's an artificial intelligence based monitoring which records all your actions. And on top of that, you will have human proctors who will constantly monitor your activities during the test. So we have divided the entire process into 3 parts. You will have a pre-exam preparation, which is basically the official website, which you have to keep a close watch. Your admit card. Which is needed in order to take the examination. Then we will have a mock test schedule on 23rd and 27th of July in exactly the same time slots in which you will have the live test. You should attempt the mock test as it will help you assess whether your hardware is technically and software compatible with the test engine. On the day of the mock and the live test, you will have technical help desk numbers for calling, as well as 4 numbers for discussing on messages. Please feel free to reach out to them on the day of the examination only. On top of that, on the day of the live exam, you will have a proctor with whom you can chat also, but he or she will only be able to guide you on the technical queries and will not be able to address any of your non-technical queries. What are the typical situations in which you want to reach out to help desk? You are unable to log in. That is the first situation which you encounter. This normally happens when you are entering the wrong credentials which are mentioned on your admit card. So please re-verify the login ID and password mentioned and double check that you are entering them in the right manner. The second is your microphone is not detected. This usually happens with the faulty hardware or the software not up to date. So please ensure you have a hardware backup as well as the softwares installed in your laptop or desktop. If you're unable to capture photo, this normally happens if the softwares installed in your laptop or desktop. If you're unable to capture photo, this normally happens if the light in the room is not adequate or it is too bright or too dark. To ensure you try to change your sitting position and the lighting angles and you are able to capture the photo easily in the camera. The 4th, 5th and 6th happens due to internet fluctuations. That means if you're unable to navigate from one question to another, or your screen is stuck for a long time and it's a white screen, or you got disconnected and got logged out. In either of these three scenarios, it has happened because your internet fluctuated and it was not restored. So in such cases, please see that your internet is stable. If not with the same connection, try an alternate connection and re-log in for resuming the test. What are the basic do's that you have to follow? Ensure your webcam, microphone, and internet are working properly. Without these three things, you will not be able to give the test. Ensure there is proper lighting in the room so that your face is evenly lit and you do not have any dark areas in your room. Ensure there is silence in the room with no background noise. Please ensure your entire face is visible in the camera. It is something similar like a passport size photograph, wherein no portion of your head should be out of the scope of the camera. Try avoid wearing reflective glasses. If at all you can wear lenses, that would be great, or non-reflective glasses, because that will not wear lenses, that would be great, or non-reflective glasses, because that will not cause any hindrance to the camera while capturing your image. You are only allowed to keep a transparent water bottle along with you. Please keep that before the start of the test, as you're not allowed to get up once the test begins. Keep a valid government photo ID with you. So same will have to be captured before the start of the test, and also the proctors will ask for it. Do appear for the mock test or the practice test, because that will give you confidence that your system is technically compatible with the software required, and you will not face any issues on the live examination. So what are the don'ts? The don'ts are exactly opposite to the do's. You are not supposed to communicate with anybody during the test. You have to give the test alone. Do not move away from the screen or camera. You're not allowed. Once the test starts, you cannot move away from the camera. Do not cover your face with any mask, hair, clothing. Do not place any light directly in front of the camera or exactly behind you, because if a bright light points directly towards the camera, it will not allow the camera to take a clear picture and the test will not resume. Do not have any background noises or music in the background, because all these will cause obstructions. Do not entertain any other person in the room. Please inform your friends and family that they should not enter the room when the test is on. Do not wear any sunglasses or earphones. They are strictly prohibited. Do not use any Google engine, because you are not allowed to search the answers online during the live test. Very important to note, please do not press F5 or refresh. Usually what happens when you press F5 or refresh, Usually what happens when you press F5 or refresh in the middle of the test, if it is stuck for a long time, you will get logged out from the test engine and you will have to re-log in again after 3 minutes. So if at all any such thing happens, you please note down the time at which the obstruction took place. Add 3 minutes to that time. Within those 3 minutes, ensure that your internet is restable. If you want to change the connection, please do it. Switch from a Wi-Fi to a different LAN connectivity or an alternate broadband. And as a last resort, you can also use a mobile hotspot, but keep that as a last resort because normally the speed fluctuates. And once your internet is restored, you can restart the test again and it will resume from the point where you lost. So you need not restart from question number 1. If the disruption happened at question number 40, you will resume your test from question number 40 itself. Do not take the test in cell phones or tablet. It will not allow you to take the test. Strictly prohibited. The device should be laptop or desktop only. The RAM should be 2 GB or above. Microphone and webcam can be built-in or external, both will work. Your internet speed should be 1 Mbps or more. Preferably if you're connected through Wi-Fi or a LAN, that will be much more stable. Processor should be 2 core and above. Please note the processor cannot, if you're using an old machine, the processor may be 2 core and less, but it will not support. So you have to ensure your processor is 2 core and above. Operating system has to be Windows only. Windows 7 and above, including Windows 11, will be supported. Do not use any other operating system. It may not be supported with the software at all. So please use Windows base only. However, if some of you are using MacBook, please ensure you attend the mock test. Which requires your location access, screen access, and privileges to be given to the admin. Please get those settings configured on the day of the mock exam itself by the technical team, and then you can use the MacBook going forward. But as a precautionary measure, you should have a Windows-based device that is much more compatible and easier to run through. Install the Chrome browser. That is one of the most reliable browsers used across the globe. If at all you do not have Chrome, install Microsoft Edge as the backup browser. Very important software is .NET Framework. It's a basic software which is pre-installed in all the desktops and laptops. Please ensure you update that version, and the minimum should be 4.5.2. What is an SEB? An SEB is a secured exam browser, or we call it abbreviated as SEB, which will create a test engine environment on your laptop or desktop so that you are fully focused on the test alone and you're not diverting your attention towards any other activity. It will prevent and block all screen mirroring, virtual access, and the system cannot be connected to another system during the test is on. It will kill all non-required processes at the start and also disable remote access. It will disable all system-related resources which are not required. A single tab browser will be opened, which will help you focus only on the test. It will disable copy paste, Control C, Control V, Control Alt Delete, and most of the keyboard shortcuts, so that you do not accidentally click any shortcut and get logged out of the system. If at all any such thing happens where you get logged out, just re-log in again after 3 minutes and you'll resume the test. Download the SEB and what are the steps. You have to download the SEB from the website, which is the official website of NTA. Once you download, you have to install it. Once installed, you run the SEB on the day of the mock examination, 60 minutes before the start test, and wait for your time slot. Please enter the login user ID password only 30 minutes before the start time. It will not allow you to enter it before that. Once the test starts at the given schedule time, you test. Once the test is completed, on the last question, you'll find the submit button that is on the 90th question, and the test can be submitted. Once you get the message the test has been submitted successfully, please use this sequence Alt plus Escape. This is the only keyboard combination that will work. If you want to exit the SEB, please reiterate Alt plus Escape is the combination. before that date. Before the SCB itself, the very first link https://webcammictest.com. Webcammictest.com. webcammictest.com. So this is webcammictest.com. It's a free open source link. You can go to this link, test your microphone camera compatibility. And if your devices are working on this link, it will sure shot work on the SCB as well. So how to download the SCB? You visit the website https://pragati.nta.ac.in. On the right hand side, just below the admit card tab, you will find download secure exam browser or SCB download tab. You click on that tab, it will lead you to a next page. In the next window, you enter your student ID, which is mentioned in your application form, and enter the dynamic CAPTCHA code, click on login. Once logged in, it will take you to a screen which will have your basic details. You will find two links in this. The first one is download the latest for Chrome browser and download the SCB. The second one is for Microsoft Edge browser. Please note, download only one SCB which is needed for the exam based on the browser that you have installed. If you have installed the Chrome browser, you download the first SCB. If you have downloaded the Microsoft Edge browser, you download the second SCB. Please do not download both the SCBs. It will not serve any purpose. Only one SCB will run at a time. Once you download the SCB, you will have a similar computer icon in your downloads folder. You double click that icon, install, define the path where you want to install this SCB and click close. Once the SCB is installed, you will have an orange color cloud icon on your desktop, something shown on the left side. Icon and with launching the SCB. The moment you launch the SCB, it will pop up an error, a pop-up warning message. Launching Save browser will close all other applications. Unsaved data will be lost. So please ensure if you're working on something critical, you save that before launching the SCB. Because the moment you launch the SCB, it will terminate all other background processes and all your computer system resources will be utilized for SCB only. This will be the first screen where you will have to enter your login ID password. The login ID password will be different for mock examination, mock 1, mock 2, and live. All the three will have different combinations, which are mentioned in your admit card. Please note you can only click login 30 minutes prior to your start time. So for example, if your slot 2 start time is 1500 hours IST, you can only click sign in from 1430 hours only. That is 30 minutes before your start time. Once you enter your credentials, you will move on to this page, which will pre-populate your name, photograph, and ID. Please click continue. However, if you note there is a discrepancy on this page and maybe your name is incorrect or your photograph is not matching, please do not panic. Send an email to the help desk email ID that this is the deviation that you have found on this page, but continue with the test because your test is linked to the login ID which you entered in the previous page and not to the photograph or name. So you can continue with the test without any worries, but do send an email if at all you find any deviation or any naming error in this particular page. Once you continue, you will be seeing an instruction page. This instruction page will be available for. Please go through the instructions carefully. It will brief you on what is the test structure, how many questions are there, how many sections are there, how to navigate from one screen to another. And once you have gone through the instructions thoroughly, on the bottom right, you can tick I confirm. Please note that the start exam button, which you can see on the bottom right, will only get activated at the scheduled start time. So if your scheduled start time is 1500 hours IST, it will only get activated at that time. You will not be able to start the exam before the scheduled time. Once you click on start, it will ask you for a general software license agreement. You can click on yes. Once you accept the general agreement, it will do a equipment check. The equipment check will basically look forward for your browser, webcam, microphone, and network. And if all the 4 are green, you will be able to proceed. If any one of the parameters is red, you will have to rectify that, relaunch the SCB and run this check again. As we said earlier, if you have even one of the components missing, you will not be able to proceed beyond this page. Once your equipment check is through, it will ask you to capture a photo. You can capture the photo in the posture in which you want to give the examination and click next. This is how the first screen will look like, wherein you will have 3 sections on the top. On the left side, you'll have the question numbers. And in the middle, you will have the question with the options. You only need to select one option which is correct as per your knowledge and click next. Once you have attempted all the questions, the submit button will get activated at the bottom right only at the 90th question. And when the remaining time is less than 15. Right only at the 90th question. And when the remaining time is less than 15 minutes. So you spent 25 minutes in a test. You have clicked on the 90th question, only then the submit button will get activated. Once the submit button is activated, you will have to click on yes and confirm. It's a 2-step verification process because once you submit and end the test, there is no going back. You will not be able to restart the test again. Once the test is submitted, you can press Alt+. There is no going back. You will not be able to restart the test again. Once the test is submitted, you can press Alt+ Escape and you will exit from the SCB. If you find there is power button missing or there is some deviation on your desktop which was not as per the original configuration before the installation of SCB, nothing to worry. There will be an SCB light repair tool icon on your desktop. Just double click on this icon and all your system will be restored the way it was. And if the network gets interrupted, you note down the time when this disruption happens. Ensure you have a stable internet before you relaunch the browser again. Note down the time and add 3 minutes to that time and restart the test. You will resume the test from where you got disruption. Monitor certain parameters during the entire test duration. That is your facial movements, your eye movements, the background noises, your network stability, and your screen activities. All these 4 parameters will be monitored very closely by the artificial intelligence, and constant error and pop-up warning messages will be displayed. On top of that, you will have human proctors who are constantly watching you. They are also your friends. If at all you have any issues, you can chat with them through a chat box available on the bottom right, but they will only be restricted to answer the technical queries only. All non-technical queries will be taken up before or after the test through the generic help desk or the email ID given. The same details are there in your admit card for any future reference, and this entire presentation will be available on the website. Email ID given. The same details are there in your admit card for any future reference, and this entire presentation will be available on the website as well. So now we'll take up all the question answers which you have put in the Q&A box. We wish you all the best for the test. Thank you so much for going through the entire presentation. So I will take up the questions which are mentioned in the Q&A box. I use MacBook. Can you help me whether I can give the test or not? Yes, as we said, Windows is definitely the preferred operating system, but if at all you are using MacBook, please